Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another She Runs Strong podcast powered by Coach Perry. My name is Shona Hendricks, and as always, I've got Coach Nikki Friedman with me today. We have a coaching call today, which I'm really excited about. We have someone by the name of Ina Donat joining us, and Ina is also from Edinburgh, so from Nikki's hometown, which is awesome, which I really love as well. And Ina has an awesome story, and also it's just going to be so inspiring to listen to. She's a 60-year-old long-time runner with some really big goals. So we're going to go through some of that in just a little bit. And Nikki and Ina have had a few coaching calls and a few coaching consultations. And so, yeah, really, really looking forward to this. But before I bring Ina on, Nikki, we're talking about Ina and ultra marathons, if I can let the cat out the bag a little bit there. You and your love of running, you've done a few ultras, have you, or not?
So I would have classed myself more as a marathon runner, but I have done one ultra up at Deeside Way in Aberdeen, which is North Scotland. And it was 33 miles, so only just within that ultra realms. But I do remember it very vividly because I was told that I had to eat a lot. It was way back. And I did. I literally stopped at every aid station and ate all the flapjacks and all the bananas. And I was so full by the end of it, I could barely run. And I just found it a bit, I don't know. I never went back, I suppose. That just speaks volumes. But I enjoyed the eating experience of it and the sociability and stuff. So I'm not as accomplished as you guys with ultra running necessarily. I always followed and fascinated and always loved to join as people's pacers. And that was my sort of through to it, but not done as many as you, Shona, certainly, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's just South African culture of ultra running in South Africa is just huge. And it's obviously more road ultra as opposed. I mean, the trail stuff is big as well, but obviously, we come from that sort of just culture. And so the Two Oceans is my favorite. But definitely have not done as much as Ina has or is going to aim for as well. So, but let's bring Ina on. And welcome her to our She Runs Strong podcast. Ina, welcome. Nice to have you here. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you. You're very welcome. Pleased to be here.
It's lovely. Yeah, it's lovely to have a fellow Edinburgh. Are you actually from Edinburgh, or do
no,
you?
I'm not from Edinburgh. No.
Oh no, because your accent is.
No. But I've been here since 1995, so it's a long time.
Yeah.
It's 30 years this year. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So, well, let's just start with a bit of background about yourself and just give us a few of the sort of highlights. Are you still working? How long have you been running for? What's your kind of favorite distance? Just a few highlights of your running career.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've been running since I was 14, so a teenager, and that was still the time of aerobics and jogging, and I never saw myself as a jogger. And it was at school camp I discovered running because we were made up to get at 6 o'clock to get up and run for, I think it must have been maybe 2 miles. It wasn't very long, but my friend and I got bored and we thought we want to run longer. We went longer. The sports teacher was not particularly happy with our, just tailing off and going elsewhere and doing it. But he let us do it in the end. And after 2 weeks, I felt actually I had increase in my fitness and I felt strong and it felt incredible. And I thought, I want to continue running. That set me off basically. And I had my leather trainers and my dad's cotton shorts and a t-shirt and off I went. And try to keep it up on a regular basis. So I didn't join a club or anything. So I just ran in the local area. We had some woodland and fields and things. So I was out in the trails. Or what one would say now, up trails. And I tried to keep it up more or less. And then it only took off a little bit more when I was at university. And then, I moved plenty of times, but running was always there. I always ran, usually on my own and somewhere, outside, not so much roads, more in the countryside. And I didn't really have a distance in mind, but I really enjoyed going long and then trying to extend the time on feet, really, as one would call this now. and then see, could I get from A to B across the hills, or, it was 20 kilometers or 25 kilometers. Could I manage that? And what time could I manage it in? Without having a training plan or anything. I bought a book at some point. It was before the internet, obviously, about running. And I thought, I'll see what's in there and whether I can learn anything. And there was a bit of the training theory. And so I think Lydiard was mentioned. So some interval training and strength training. And I like being strong. And I thought, yeah, that's great. So where am I going to do it? And uni, we had a gym, and it wasn't a pleasant environment then. So I did some bits and pieces, but I gave up in the end because it was just not a very conducive environment for women to be in. But there are playgrounds, and you can or fitness paths. So whatever communities offer, and you can make use of those things and keep strong, and pull yourself up somewhere, or push something, or hop somewhere. It's possible, and I've kept that up until I think today. So I think I've made my own sandbags and things. So I think I don't need to have a gym necessarily. I can be creative and find ways of keeping up strength work. And I think, amazing. So that was, and then on and off with having a family and things like that. I kept up running, even if it was just getting up before everyone else, and getting half an hour around the block.
Is it something that you've just then predominantly done for yourself on your own, kind of, with like just kind of get out the house and clear your mind, that sort of thing? But also you've said that you're kind of time driven. You did say that at some point, that you were time driven and you do have those goals. So you're still got that little competitiveness going on when you enter races and stuff.
So I think it wasn't until I think I was, the children left home mid-40s or something, or early 40s for me. So kind of thinking, right, that's my time. Why don't I join a running club? And then just see what club's like, and see whether I can get some training in, or someone, maybe who can actually have a look at me more specifically rather than myself, or finding out. I mean, I like exploring and I'm curious, of course, and I can read things. But actually someone who will say, well, you could do this, or this would be good at this time, or I have a goal, and then actually work towards that goal. Being
goal driven. And so have you run many marathons, or what's your kind of jam in terms of running? What's your distance, would you say?
I like journeys. I like getting places, you can't get easily to. So a hill run is great. I love it, to be on the top, or just even if it's just across the passes or something, or be out in the landscape somewhere, away from roads and I can navigate. It's good. I like that. I like the adventure.
You like the adventure.
Yeah, I like the adventure. And mountain marathons, for example, is something that I really, really enjoy doing. I haven't done very many at all. I wish I could do more, but you need a partner for that one.
Right.
And I had a partner for a while. It was fantastic, and then she wasn't able to continue. And it's to find someone who runs at a similar pace, or has similar ideas about marathon, or is competitive or not, or what is just But it doesn't matter.
Have you ever run the road marathons and 10Ks and half? So you have done those sort of, you've done your time with those as well and stuff.
Yeah, I needed a time for a particular race in Australia, and he did an under 4 hour marathon.
Okay.
And I did Edinburgh, because I mean, at the time it wasn't a flat marathon. It started at Arthur's Seat, so you had to go around the Yes, it was a difficult start.
It was a brutal one,
and it came back into the city, so you had an uphill finish as well. So that was not the one that was for the race. I didn't manage that in 4.5 hours or something like that. But Inverness came close, so that's a downhill one, a net downhill one.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And but it's on the road, and I'm just not. It's this pounding that I find very exciting. I mean, it's nice enough. The routes are nice enough, but I like to be out on the trails, really.
Okay.
And I've had times where I've run lots of marathons just on a Sunday. Get out early and put in 40 kilometers somewhere across the hills and come back home. It's too much. I can see it now. Too much.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's have a look at this. So this year, I hope you don't mind me saying, but you've turned 60 in February.
That's
So
fine, yeah.
this is a big year for you. You're still solidly running, so that's great. And you have entered the Tweed Valley Ultra, which is a beautiful ultra in the borders of Scotland, 65K. So that's a great target. That's what, October, is it?
November.
Is it November? Sorry.
Yeah.
So we've loaded you up a plan for that. And so with all that you've just said with your journeys and you like doing trails, you still are keen to do a 5K though under 25 minutes. So
Yep.
there is those, you do have that other goal sort of bubbling away underneath your ultra running adventures as well. So and you have done a 5K quite recently as part of a time trial as well. So tell us a little bit about that 5K that you just that 5K that you just did recently.
Yeah. So ever since I joined Coach Perry, I've been going to the track for the 5Ks and for some of the speed interval sessions, just to see, what is the time on the flat, because on the trails I couldn't tell you. It's I can do it by rate of perceived exertion. That's what I run by. And I can get into the relevant zone. But just to see, I was just curious and thinking, so how fast can I actually run? And then I couldn't help myself looking at 5K times. What's the best 5K time for a woman over 60 at the moment? What's the world record?
I'm a competitive person here, Shona.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's slowly just kind of coming to light.
Ina's like my spirit animal. I want to be like Ina when I'm 60 for sure. So, yeah.
I just thought,
what is that world record? Just out of interest,
I think it's 15 minutes and a bit. And actually, I met the woman. It wasn't clear to me, but I met the woman who's running it, and she's now 65 and she's still keeping the 5K and 10K records and things. So she's really fast. She's from New Zealand, and I lived in that town for a while, and ran actually a race and sat next to her at the prize giving.
Oh, very cool.
Totally unaware that who I was sitting next to and having a chat with.
Wow.
I thought,
that's the great thing about the running community, though.
Yeah.
You can mix.
And so I thought, okay, right. I remember that I, once ran 23 minutes and 24. And I think in December I did one in just under 25 minutes. And I thought, yep. But I've just been, because the weather has been absolutely great in Scotland, I've been away sea kayaking and hiking and things like that. And so lots of aerobic input, but not so much running. And then I had the time trial coming up and I thought, okay, well, I will do it as scheduled. And it came in at pretty much exactly 27 minutes. But I thought, no, I'm not going to be disappointed. The weather was okay. There's no excuse of strong winds or, pouring rain or anything that might make it slippery or something. And I thought, I'm just going to, 27. So where do I go from here?
Yeah.
I said that to Nikki at the time, I love running, but I am a nervous wreck on the track when I stand there and have to run 5K all out. And I think, I hope it goes well. I hope I don't get a stitch. I try to not look at my watch and just run, because it will beep every kilometer I've done, and I can count to 5. That's fine.
Yeah.
And you were doing it solo, right?
Yeah, there was no one else. Yeah.
Really hard.
It always amazes me how ultra runners like really disdain the shorter because it's hard. Those 5Ks are hard. They hurt. I know ultras hurts as well, but they hurt in a different kind of way. And so I always love speaking to ultra runners and finding out how they feel about those 5K time trials, because they do really hurt. But I think Nikki, just taking these two things into account. So the sub 27, the sub 25 minute 5K goal, the 65K ultra towards the end of the year. Like how from a coaching perspective, how do you tackle that first up with someone like what was your advice in that consultation?
That is really, it's a wee tricky one, but there's no question it's very doable for you because you've done it before, and it is a very doable, and it's just a question of getting back there. So I would say having that goal for the end of this, at some point this year, we'll be able to do it. But what you almost have to do, because you're an ultra runner, because you like running the trails and the mountains and stuff, is you have to practice almost running the 5Ks. You will need to bring in intervals as well, which we have got as part of your plan, but you'll also need to practice those horrible 5Ks, and almost mentally, it's more, I think, for you about the mental practice of beginning to love that pain of the 5K right from the start. And going down to the track like you did, and we discussed this, was a really hard thing to do. And you need to set yourself almost the times as you go round, like the first 400, the second 800, and this sort of thing. But I would probably never recommend anyone to do a solo time trial of 5K on the track. I just think it's so tough. Even when you're racing in a race with people on a track, they are really, really brutal. So I would say alongside, and it is tricky because you've got a lot of back-to-back weekend runs that you're doing to build that volume towards Cape Wrath. But you will also have some time trials in there as well, and we could possibly add in some, is that you more take in the park runs in Edinburgh. And I know there's a lot of really good park runs in Edinburgh coming from Edinburgh. And you have to embrace Cramond, basically, because Cramond Park Run is the fast, flat one, which most people hate, because there's nothing to distract you from the pain apart from just running. And that's the beauty of it. You have to learn that mental pain and agony. And so it is, a lot of people treat a 5K as a fun run. They treat it as the fun run distance. But to actually nail a fast 5K, to actually do it properly, is something you have to rehearse and practice. And yes, you can do all the training and the tempos, but you do actually just have to race it quite a bit until you learn how to race it. And that's something you just need to bring into your program. So perhaps that would be something, instead of every 4 weeks having the time trial, that we bring in every second week or third week. And maybe I would hate to bring it in too much to hinder your endurance at the weekend, but perhaps we could bring it in every 4 weeks as an all-out effort, and every second week as more of a tempo effort. So you just get used to running with the crowds, you get used to the feel of it, and then you can add on a few miles before and after it as the warm up and cool down as well. But I would definitely look to do that. And then you'll just learn to embrace that pain as you build the aerobic volume that you have. That will just be brilliant for it. And then the interval sessions, maybe your interval sessions are on a Tuesday, and I'd like to, I suppose, just check that you are very fresh for that interval session, because if you're not feeling fresh and you're feeling slightly fatigued from the weekend of long runs, I would move that into the Wednesday for you, so you're coming into that interval session really fresh as well. And how that looks with your strength training too. I mean, it's all a bit of a juggle, and I think as we get older, it is coming into the sessions as fresh as you can to get the most out of it as you can. So that's what I think do at this particular point. I think it's practicing those 5Ks, which you'll depends how much you want it. How much do you want it? But you must have run Cramond a few times living in Edinburgh, surely.
No, I haven't. I marshalled at the Holyrood Park one. So
that's a terrible one. I mean, I would say Portobello is another great one, because it's a 3 laps, so you can really monitor your laps as you go. But Cramond is the one to do if you want to try and get that sub 25, and you have to go a few times because it's always windy.
Oh, definitely. Okay.
But
sorry, and in your current training, I mean, you joined Coach Perry at the end of last year, and so I sort of know what your training is like. But just for everyone who's listening, how many times a week are you running? How many times a week were you running, perhaps before joining Coach Perry? What does your general kind of schedule look like? You still mentioned strength. Are you still doing, in how many strength sessions? What does that normally look like for you?
Okay, so before I joined, I probably ran 5 or 6 days a week. And depending what the goal was, I have had weeks with 70, 80 miles in there before very long efforts or races. But but usually 50, 60 kilometers was a normal week for me. And then I said I changed. What I changed in the last maybe 5 to 10 years is the cycle. I'm doing it. I'm not doing it on a 4-week cycle, so 3 weeks on, 1 week a little bit less. I changed to 2 weeks to a 1 in 3. So, and that made a huge difference, even with 5 or 6 days of running a week.
Okay.
And having a week where I cut everything down by half, basically.
Okay. Amazing.
And so that's back up to a 1 in 4 now, and about on 4 days.
Okay.
With Coach Perry. So I've got a Tuesday the interval session, and an easier run on a Thursday, and then the back-to-back longer ones over the weekends.
Yeah.
What I really like is foot core. I think that's a really important session. And I haven't got enough in it at the moment, and I can copy probably in, but I do it almost every day because it is amazing what it does.
Cool.
And it's easily done. I can do it before I get out of bed, but almost, kind of that's but so for me it was difficult to get down from 5 to 6 to just 4 days of running.
Yes.
Mentally, I kind of thinking, oh no, what am I going to do today? No, it's rest day. Can I walk? Can I garden? What can I go on a bike ride and see my friend, and it's 15 kilometers away or something? Is that too much of an effort in Coach Perry's opinion? Or is that still okay to do? Because I'm active generally every day, whether it's a rest day or not. I will still be out, but not doing other sports necessarily, but I'll still be walking or cycle somewhere.
But do you find the actual run volume is much different, because there are some quite big days that you're training, and certainly at the weekends. Do you find that the overall volume in a week is different, or has it dropped substantially from where you were?
If you want to recover from sessions faster, not feel tired all the time, run pain and injury free, and improve your endurance, then be sure to join me in my upcoming training specifically for female runners over the age of 45. In it, I'll share with you my simple 5-step framework that'll transform your running. Simply scan the QR code on screen now, or click on the link in the description to save your seats in the training now. We look forward to seeing you there.
I think at the moment, the nice thing is that I have 3-hour runs over the weekend, or 3 hours and 20 last Saturday, which is great because it gets me somewhere. Whereas in the previous training plans, it was sort of an hour and a half, and so where can I go? I can't even reach the top of the hill in an hour. So it'll just be a normal, my normal round sort of halfway up and back or something like that. And for me, the weekends or any longer run would be, to get definitely over the hill and into the next glen or something. So I enjoy going, and this training plan has the longer ones in it, which I really enjoy. So I may come up. It's the time more in the kilometers, but I do more kilometers because it's longer.
Yeah.
The time is longer. So I haven't worked out how many kilometers I do. Last Saturday it was so hot, and it was a slog to get to the reservoir, and then we cooled off in the reservoir, and then ran back because it was just so hot.
Do you run from your house out to the Pentlands and then round then?
Yeah. So we went round up Alamure, what is it? Cape Low, Harbour Hill, Black Hill, Hallow Reservoir, and then back.
That's cool. So you've got plenty of good running up in Edinburgh. I know that because obviously I used to run up there as well. So it is really, really good. And the Pentlands is just perfect training for your ultra, really, whether you go low or high in the Pentlands, it's great. So you've embraced the 4 days a week, and that's okay for you now.
Yes.
And then your strength training, you're doing a couple of times a week.
Yeah, I think so. Postmenopausal women, the research is coming out. Has been around for a while now. It is good to lift heavy. Doesn't need to be huge sessions or something. I get all the aerobic input that I need from the running, so the anaerobic bit can come from the strength training.
Yeah.
But as I said earlier, I like being strong. The feeling is great if I can lift, a sea kayak off the car, or I can do my own shopping, or I can, do things. I don't need to ask anyone else necessarily, or it just feels good.
Yeah.
And I haven't really had an injury for a very, very long time.
Excellent. That's
That'll be all the foot core.
yeah, well, foot core and the strength work. Yeah,
The
definitely.
strength work. I
So
mean, I sometimes have a niggle, an IT band niggle or something like that. But then it can say, well, have I done anything? Was I consistent in my strength training? And maybe not so much, because sometimes not here, and sometimes elsewhere, and circumstances are different, or but in generally, my top tip would be strength training. Just do it.
yeah.
Can I just ask, do you have a full
sorry, Nikki, just before we go to the next question, I just want to just clarify for anyone who's listening, when we talk foot core, I mean, we're talking about something that we use quite colloquially at Coach Parry, but essentially it's really exercises for the intrinsic muscles of your feet. And just we obviously always in shoes, and it's something we really believe at Coach Parry, that we have to work those smaller muscle groups, because otherwise the bigger ones just take over. And so definitely from an injury prevention or risk of injury, that helps. And then obviously doing trail runs and risk of falling, it does help as well. So sorry, I just wanted to clarify that's part of our strength training as well. Sorry, Nikki, you had another question there though that you wanted to add.
I'm not sure if I can remember.
Sorry, I apologize.
Just that's a good intro, actually. Just from those perimenopause and menopause years and stuff. So we're going a little wee bit back and stuff, and obviously I'm having my little brain fog moment there as we were talking. How did you find, if you've run all the way through those years of 40s and 50s, did you find much changed for you? Can I just ask as well, were you working full time as well? And as well?
Yeah, I was working.
So you were working.
Yeah.
So, and busy mom as well. So how did things change for you? Did you notice many differences? You say you've always done strength training, so that must have helped.
Yeah, not to the extent that is, research is telling you to do it. So, but I think some is better than nothing, really. And I didn't really, very fortunate probably in the sense that I wasn't too badly affected by the sort of classic symptoms of, massively sweating at inopportune moments, and, having huge mood swings, or all sorts of things. At least nobody told me anything. And I didn't feel that I was particularly narky at some point, or things. But from a running point of view, I would say I noticed a difference. I had years around just before menopause. It's a date, obviously, the 12 months are up when you didn't have a period, but where everything hurt. I had 15 months or something like that. And I thought, gosh, is this osteoarthritis or what is this? Where every joint just hurt. And it was I ran a beautiful marathon in the north of Scotland, across the pass, and it was lovely, but it was so painful. And I thought, why? What is this? Am I already old enough? Am I too old, or do I have to give up? So, and it would have been good to know, or asking questions of other women as to how do you, is it the same for you? And I discovered, actually, yes,
with the beauty of hindsight,
there's quite a lot of women who have aches and pains around that time.
Yeah,
and it's okay.
I remember having that for about a year. I was just like, just had sore joints, and I had no idea why. I was just like, this is really weird. And then it just sort of disappeared one day. It was kind of strange, but it was there all the time. So that's really interesting. But you kept on running, and you kept with your strength training. And I wonder if that has really helped ease the process through from you, actually.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And
keep on moving.
But it's keep moving. I think that's what I enjoy, and it is my happy place, really. And an additional hill has the advantage, it changes your perspective, so you can actually, if you're bogged down at work all day and then you're thinking, well, I can't get any further than that, so go up, and then okay, I'm just a small cog in a big wheel, and you get the perspective, and that what I'm dealing with is actually, it is important, but it is not world shatteringly important.
Yeah.
I need to get it done, but I will get it done, and it's okay. I just got myself into the tits here, and
brilliant. I love that mindset. Yeah, that's amazing. Good. And any things, Nikki mentioned about how much you eat, for an ultra, generally, not you particularly, just in general, how much Nikki was eating in an ultra. For you, from a a nutritional perspective, personally, is that something you focus on quite a bit? I mean, I'm assuming so with the amounts of training you're doing. You're healthy, you recover well, you're not injured. Talk us through some of your nutritional ideals, if you have those in particular.
I think eating is really important, full stop. You've got to fuel what you're doing. And I've tried, intermittent fasting at some point. I thought maybe that's okay. I was working next to a lab and we had food scientists and things like that and physiologists and stuff. So we were trying things out for 4 weeks. I'll see whether I can not eat for 14 hours. It was very, very painful because with running, I do have to eat and I'm so ravenous that it didn't work for me. So I just, no, let me eat. And
so you actually tried that for 4 weeks of 14 hours not eating, and then you would go running kind of on an empty stomach.
Well, that's the thing. So I really needed to replan my day. When am I going to eat? When am I going to run? Because I can't run on an empty stomach. I can, but it's not fun.
No, yeah.
And so I thought, no, that was a lesson in how not to do it. And
we like to hear things like that.
And I don't like carbo loading. Never liked it. There was a time when that was advertised, like you did with your Decide 33 or something, that you need to eat pasta party and all that kind of thinking, and stuff your face with all sorts of things while you're running. I think that it's okay for some maybe, but it wasn't okay for me. And I just said, well, what happens if I don't do that? If I just have a normal meal like I would normally have the evening before, and then I'll eat normal stuff while I'm on the go. And it's been the best thing. It's same with hydration, things like that. It's super expensive. The whole specialist, stuff is so expensive. But all we need is fuel. We need food. It's the whatever. For some people, it's a peanut butter jam sandwich. For me, it's a cheese jam sandwich. And
is that your go-to favorite
yogurt or something? Nuts is great on long runs. It's nuts and raisins. So just what's there. Scotland's got oat cakes, so I love oat cakes. And it's you can have them. It's a bit salty sometimes, and it's fine. So you have a variety of things. Or if it's cold, chocolate is great for some days. But I just find the whole gel thing and things. I got sent accidentally a pack full of gels and powders and stuff. So I had the chance to try things, and it just didn't. In an emergency, I have always an emergency gel in my pack. Absolutely. If it's for me or for someone else, it's fine. It's there.
Awesome.
But it's not my regular go-to. What I'm watching is protein intake. That has changed. So I learned a bit more about how important that is, and I kind of tallied up what I get during the day, generally speaking, and it's not enough for what I do. So I changed that and try and reach that sort of 2 grams per kilogram body weight, roughly 80-20 or something. It's not perfectionist, okay? So, but to get closer to that. And
that's
I'm not
quite
just making a difference, but
takes time though. It takes a little bit of time just to add in and just keep that consistency. How did you add that extra protein in? Because that's, I think, quite a struggle for folks, is like getting it for breakfast and for snacks and for lunch. So what did you
So I don't eat a lot of meat. So that's already, it's a challenge.
Yes,
and the
definitely.
protein steaks. But what I do is I always have a good breakfast. So I have usually yogurt, or I've switched to quark, which has much more protein in it. So 250 grams of that is, 25 grams of protein. And muesli, something like that. And so almonds in there, etc. So I do. But when I tried out, I bought some protein powder and see if I add that in, what does it do to the taste, the texture, etc. Will I still eat it? Would it help me? And
it's quite good to add to porridge or oatmeal, as the Americans call it.
So I add a scoop. I add 1 scoop a day, so about 23 grams of protein into my breakfast. Whereas the rest, I get the rest of the protein from what I would normally eat. So fish is for me is good. Fish is great. We can be tinned tuna or fresh fish or whatever. That's usually a good go-to. And pulses and nuts and stuff.
Yep.
Nice. It's all good. A pita bread stuffed with tuna and some other bits and pieces, and you've usually got 30 grams of protein.
You sound really on it and stuff, I think, there. Go on, Shona.
Yeah, I think no, worries. I think that's exactly it. I mean, we had a previous podcast that came out a few weeks ago around my story around my poor muscle mass and so on. And when we had another Nikki on the podcast, and she just was talking around, yes, protein is important, but and you mentioned it as well, which I'm so glad, is that when I mentioned around, how much you like to eat, and you're like, yes, you make sure that you have enough food in the day, and now you're complementing that with your protein intake. It just makes me so happy to hear this. You're doing so much of the basic stuff right. And so. I just think it's this is probably one of the easier coaching calls, Nikki, that you ever had to do, right? There's not much that you had to change, so yeah.
The only thing I would say though is just from that podcast we did a couple of weeks, the one thing that came out of that was that Shona hadn't increased her food uptake at a point where she probably should have, and
when the training increased,
you're probably getting to that point as well. And so Shona had actually lost a little bit of weight and a little bit of muscle mass, even though she had been strength training and she felt light and good. So that's maybe something now to be aware of, that to add a bit more carbs and protein in, more than you think. It was just really quite an interesting chat all in. And we were sort of toying with that in terms of, we should probably prompt people at some point in their programs to actually, now you need to add in those extra carbs and protein, and whether that's an extra protein bar a day or a banana sandwich with almond butter or something like that. But now is probably a good time. You can't kind of really overdo it. So yeah, I think, you are a dream. You do a lot of the stuff right. You've been doing it for a long time. It's just really good. And it's great to hear how much you're doing and what you've got. I think the 5K though, I am a big fan of keeping a little bit of that sharp speed. So definitely popping in some extra 5Ks, making your way down to Cramond. Where is it you live in Edinburgh? Can you run down to Cramond?
At the opposite end. At the opposite end. And there's no direct public transport in, so I would either have to cycle or take a car.
So cycling might be quite good. What I used to do when I lived in Edinburgh is I would run, because it was ever so slightly downhill, and it was about 6 miles for me. And then I taught my husband into coming down to meet me. Give me a lift so that I didn't have to run back up the hill afterwards. So if you've got someone who's kind like that. But I think adding in Cramond Park Run and getting used to that effort level. Obviously your main focus is your ultra, so we don't want to detract from that too much, and we want to make sure you're online, but adding in and running with people to just put a bit more pressure on. But the beauty of 5Ks is you can generally recover quite quickly afterwards. And if you're out in the Pentlands the next day and you're eating well and fueling well and sleeping well, then you should be good to add in a couple of extra park runs there, I think. Your thoughts, Shona?
Okay, all good, cool.
No, I think that's exactly it. I think the focus is on obviously the ultra, so building up that volume. So again, the eating and the sleeping, just so important there with increasing the volume. And I love the idea of what Nikki is saying. I think that's excellent. 2 minutes off a 5K time trial is it's 20 seconds plus minus per kilometer, so it's a big one. But we will definitely keep all the listeners on track and with your progress and how it's going, if you don't mind. And when you smash that 25-minute 5K and your ultra, I do think I'm sure everyone would love to hear about it. But from my perspective, you're doing the things right. You're doing the strengths right. You're doing the nutrition right. Let's just hone in on some of those recovery aspects. You're running the right amounts of volume. So definitely. Any questions from you, Ina, as we sort of close off? Anything you want to ask us before we finish off?
No, I think that was good advice. So I'll see whether I can squeeze in that extra 5K and see and get there. As I say, it's just a nice, it teases me occasionally, that 5K, and say, well, I could run a bit faster, and it is good for long bits as well. So you've got the speed training in there.
It is good.
So that was good. And I think what I would say is I try not to to use all of these things is to beat myself with. So if I don't manage it, it is okay not to manage. I'm not unhappy with my time as such.
Yes.
And I think
it can be quite hard then at Cramond as well, because the wind can be quite ferocious. So always check the wind before you go down as well. It can make quite a difference.
But it's so nice to have these goals, and I think that's, like you say, like to be gentle with yourself if you don't hit them. But if you're improving along the way, that for me is the win as well. So those baby steps towards that goal. Obviously your main goal is the ultra, and so I have faith, and obviously Nikki's looking after your plan a little bit here and there. So no, definitely on track to getting that. For sure. Nikki, any closing points from you? I mean, you've done, you've mentioned around the coaching, but any closing points that you want to mention?
I love your running. You seem to have everything nicely in place. And so just stay away from sick people. So as long as you stay healthy, the main thing I think often is August, September in Scotland, when everyone goes back to school, you just want to stay clear of everybody at that point, and just stay healthy. And I hope really good luck. I hope it all goes well. And I'm excited to hear how you do. Definitely.
Okay.
Yep. Definitely. Well, thank you so much for your time and sharing your story with us and our listeners. If you guys enjoyed this, just pop some comments and wish Ina luck on her journey here. That'd be amazing. But other than that, we will see you guys all again next week. Thanks everyone for your time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.